Hello everybody, you can call me Hunch. This is not financial advice, but I feel like I need to make this video again because I feel like a lot of people are not getting it. I'm getting a lot of blowback. First of all, let me just say that you're not going to agree with everything you say, and I'm not going to be a permeable in everything. I've criticized the projects I love the most. For a year, I criticized stacks. A year, okay? Maybe even more, okay? And I've been totally transparent with you the entire time. I don't go into every sector. I don't push AI. I don't push gaming. I don't push things that I think are going to underperform. And that's been true. Most things have underperformed what I've been telling you about Bitcoin DeFi, right? I told you about the risks of SAV-M, right? I didn't say this is theoretically what I like the most. I said you should look into it, but there's high risk associated with that. And we were right, okay? We never push anything we don't agree with. I haven't taken any money. I don't necessarily take positions in all these things. I just give you honest opinions, right? I mean, literally go watch every single video. I have been consistent. I have been honest. I have been transparent. And when I'm telling you about Merlin Layer, I suggest that if you want to invest, you just do it. But you just keep your ears open, right? I don't need you to tell me that I'm wrong, right? I know that I can be wrong, and I apologize when I am wrong. But so far, I have not been wrong, okay, about my thesis. I've brought you things that don't perform well, interesting things, but I never told you they were part of my thesis. Every single crypto I told you about my thesis, Dyko, Alex, Stacks, ORNJ, Sovereign, have all outperformed every other crypto influencer. If you don't believe me, just go look. That doesn't mean I haven't been outperformed by a meme coin. Listen to what I'm saying. The thesis behind this bull run has been honest, correct, better, and more transparent than any other YouTuber. So when I'm going to talk about Merlin Chain right now, I suggest you just listen, right? That doesn't mean I'm not wrong. It doesn't mean I can't be corrected, right? It just means listen to what I'm saying to you when I present you the evidence, okay? So here we go. Let's dive on in. I'm going to be talking about Merlin Chain. Okay, now, if you don't know what Merlin Chain is, it's claiming to be an L2, right? Okay, now, you will think it's maybe an L1 because when you bridge to Merlin Seal to stake your assets, you use native Bitcoin. But when you bridge to the chain, right, it says Bitcoin, but it doesn't work. Bitcoin does not work. You need WBTC, okay? In order to go use Merlin Swap or interact with the chain, right, to get a hoo-hoo coin, which is a meme coin, you cannot use native Bitcoin, okay? So this is not like a BRC ordinals thing. This is something entirely different, okay? Now, I just want to go through my tweets so you follow, because it's going to give you the evidence as I go. Okay, so this guy, Francis Dunn, is pushing this guy, and he's criticizing Benny the Dev. Benny the Dev, if you don't know who it is, he is the creator, the developer behind Trac, right? Which is the indexer, okay? Now, I said, go ahead and give us a demo, right, to this guy on how to bridge and swap on Merlin. And then with a straight face, tell us you aren't full of baloney, okay? I hope that's how you spell baloney. Now, I'm going to go into detail here. I said, okay, so this guy is someone who invested in Merlin, okay? And I go, look at his response. A brilliant guy, really, because you have to be brilliant to take these steps, right? However, this is not the path to mass adoption. Anyone who thinks this is small brain, right? It doesn't mean it can't change, but it's really uncanny. Now, I've also been tweeting that it's unethical to be pushing this thing, right? And why have I arrived at that conclusion? It's not because I don't believe in free markets. I do. I believe in your right to invest in Merlin. But that doesn't mean influencers are not acting unethically here by pushing it, right? Because we all know what the goal is. The goal is mass adoption of Bitcoin, right? And mass decentralization, liquidating the hands of power, right? Giving it back to the people, right? These are all the facets of Bitcoin that everybody knows, right? Now, look at his response about how he got hoo-hoo on the Merlin coin, on the Merlin chain, and tell me that this is not an Ethereum chain or an L3, right? It's certainly not a Bitcoin L1, okay? I said, you have to use MetaMask, okay? MetaMask, first of all, is not a Bitcoin wallet. and swap to WBTC. I use MetaMask and bridge to Arbitrum to get WBC, then connect to Merlin and bridge it to get their BTC. For the seal portion, it's just Unisat wallet or regular BTC. Okay, that alone is enough evidence for what I'm presenting to you, even if I'm not 100% correct, for you to take a step back and go, oh my God, maybe I do not understand what is going on. And I said that in the video yesterday, right? I presented the evidence. I've been looking at this thing for hours. I don't understand what's going on, right? I told you I understand Stacks, right? Stacks utilizes the computing power because it settles on Bitcoin after the Stacks blocks are mined, okay? That is an entirely different system of transparency than is what is going on here, okay? Now, I'm going to go further into this, going through the tweets. So, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I like Alex. Alex is under Stacks. It's a DeFi platform. And I tweeted this. I said, remember when I shit all over Alex, when I thought they were being unethical? This is the standard we must take, invested or not, right? And I'm one of the biggest bulls on Alex, and I shit on them. I got the CEO to respond. I got the chief technical officer to respond. I said, invested or not, we must be legitimate, or we are just another fiat, okay? So this guy is trying to go back and forth with me. Whatever. He's probably a good guy. I said, okay, so now this is John Ennis, another developer, okay, who was an early developer on Stacks. Now he uses Solana, but he still follows Stacks, so on and so forth. He does NeoSwap. Go follow him. Great guy. Really technical, smart. He responded to me. He said, what happened in response to what I tweeted? And I go, it had to do with forking BRCs with a freeze, BRC20s with a freeze. And instead of using a decentralized solution, I believed it, I believed it worked out, and they never admitted it, but that's pretty much what happened. And he goes, was anyone harmed in the end, or is this a more principled objection? I said, perspective, maybe or maybe not. I cannot read their thoughts. I believe they knew they were trying to capture the market, right? Because I never heard anything else other than when they addressed it, right? Now, this is the Alex chart. If you don't know who they are, go check them out. You can Google them and you go on their website. This is Trac, the people that Alex were going toe-to-toe with, and Unisat and a few others, right, about indexing. And what I got from that was Trac was actually right. Now, I don't understand all the technicals behind it, but it ended up, I think they abandoned that, or they modified it to not freeze it, right? Not freeze the code or whatever at a certain block height, whatever it may be. They were wrong, right? And you know what? That situation is just something that reminds me of what's going on here, right? Somebody's not being forthright. Somebody's not being honest. We have to take that approach, right? Because in this situation, the same thing that happened to Trac in that last situation with indexing, this YouTuber is telling us again that Benny is wrong when the first time Benny was right. So who has a better track record, right? Just from a principled perspective, that doesn't mean Benny isn't wrong. That doesn't mean Benny doesn't have ulterior motives. Who is showing their hand to be more honest and forthright? I certainly don't think, and I could be wrong, right? The game is a world of possibilities, right? I certainly don't think it's this YouTuber, okay? I do not think this guy has a huge, well-established track record. I've heard that he talked about Pulse Chain, which we all know people lost everything, right? Doesn't mean Pulse Chain is legitimate or not a scam, but it mostly was an unethical situation with Pulse Chain. And now he's posting a picture of him backhanding Benny about this situation. There is something very wrong with this situation, right? Because I've been following this guy for a short period of time, and he goes and he talked about LIGO Bitcoin. Okay, if you don't know what LIGO Bitcoin is, it's basically a BRC20 that said they had smart contracts, but all they had was a website with no legitimacy, nothing, right? I'm not saying LIGO can't come back and make something better, but to me, LIGO is a scam too, right? What's going on with LIGO? Absolutely nothing. It's down only. There's no legitimacy to it. Nobody knows who the developers are. It's some Chinese scam. Now, I'm not saying Chinese people scam, but it seems like that area has a lot of scammers, right? And I could be wrong, but I think the Merlin Chain is also Chinese developers. I'm not trying to critique Chinese developers. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of grift, right? They're not coming out and being honest about their products, right? Now, this also reminds me of SavM and all the influencers that talked about SavM. If you don't know what SavM is, they claim to be an EVM chain that's Bitcoin L2 that used EVM compatibility, so on and so forth. And it ended up that Yago, the guy who codes for Sovereign, which I talk about all the time, which has been up only, right? And I think is a legitimate Bitcoin DeFi project. It's been going through the bear market, the bull market, right? It hasn't abandoned the project, so I think it's legitimate. Called them out, right, and said this is a scam. And then here we are with a guy with a huge following on Twitter, a huge following on YouTube, apologizing. Now I haven't watched the whole thing, but But if I go read the comments, it says, "What were the terms of getting your influencer application, Miles? You have let your community down. An apology and leaving banter does not excuse you for all the money you scammed out of people. This will not be forgotten," right? They scammed the shit out of everybody, pretty much, okay? And they made a ton of money. And this was so obvious, right? Because on the launch pad, it stated only 100 people get the launch tokens. And it depends on how many clicks you get on social media, okay? So huge red flags. Huge red flags with EVM. Huge red flags with the influencers shelling it like crazy, right? And I know what you're going to say. Influencers are shilling ORNJ, so on and so forth. I get it, right? Just because in this situation there's influencers and scams doesn't mean all situations are, right? ORNJ may turn out to be a scam, but I don't think it is, right? Okay, so Merlin reminds me almost to a T of this. That doesn't mean it is a scam, right? But from a risk perspective, and let me just go full screen. I'm just laying out a theory here. It doesn't mean Merlin is a scam. It just means that you can't be offended when I'm telling you this based on evidence. I have more evidence that it is more likely a scam than you have evidence that it is a scam. Here's your evidence. I want to get airdrops and I want to get rich off Hoo the cat coin. That's your evidence, okay? So if you have a legitimate position that you want to take in the comments, please comment. But calling me out and saying that I'm just being paranoid or being this or being that, or you should be a permabull is nonsense. It's garbage. It's not clear thinking, and you probably should go follow somebody else. Okay, so to keep going, people are noticing this, right? It can actively affect the morale in the space, right? This guy Nicola, prominent person, right? Go follow them. Ordinal space is becoming more and more like ETH in every single passing day. So people also say, why does this matter? It's a free market, right? We don't want to be like ETH. We don't want to have scams. We don't want to have all the people and all the fraud and non-legitimacy and the fake projects and the siphoning off of funds, right? We don't want to be like fiat, right? Now, let's just talk about ORNJ. ORNJ, I want to correct myself. I said it was at a higher market cap, but that's because all the tokens weren't fully vested. So it is sitting at 13.2. I think this is a good valuation. Now, I saw Head and Shoulders here. You could see it a little bit on this little graph. I don't have it on TradingView, so it's hard to make. Is it coming back? Maybe. Is there a chance for another dip? Maybe. I like it as a long-term project. I think they have legitimate goals. That doesn't mean they have a lot of partnerships. They have a lot of things, right? Go use the product themselves. I think the developers are more legitimate. Again, this is all about percentages. Could be a rug pull. Could be this. Could be that, right? But you have to make judgments and then just go with them. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you're wrong. You're just absorbing information, okay? I want you to be like a neutral palate because this is how you become someone who can think clearly and invest well. Right? You're just neutral. You're taking in information from many perspectives. I'm just one of them. Right? And this isn't financial advice anyway. This is just about learning and thinking clearly. Okay? So let's go back here. We'll put on the tunes. Comment below if that makes sense. I just want you to do well. And not give up your ethics for the like. We are not Cardano holders. We are not XRP holders. We are not Ethereum holders, right? We're Bitcoiners, okay? We have to hold ourselves to a different standard. Now you're saying, oh, you know, that greed is good, blah, blah, blah. This is... Get your head out of your bum, okay? We must be better than fiat. We must be better than other non-decentralized exchange. We must be better. We must push. We must push harder. We must chill. We must focus. We must wait. This is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.